live. This is Law Call.
Good evening, I'm Larry Perry, and tonight we're taking on a special topic, suicide awareness and prevention. Each year, Florida State University and the law firm of Perry & Young help sponsor and bring a suicide awareness summit to our area. In fact, it's this upcoming Friday at FSU Panama City. We have special guest tonight, Dr. Irving Clark, who is from FSU Panama City. He is the assistant dean, and we're here to talk about that. We're also here to listen to your questions and hear your comments about this subject. It's a difficult subject to talk about, but sometimes just talking about it kind of helps you or may actually help somebody else. Suicide has touched me personally in my life. I have had a grandfather and a great-grandfather commit suicide. I've also had numerous people that I know that are close to me attempt suicide. And just recently, in the past 40 days, unfortunately, I've had 3 people that I would consider not necessarily in my inner circle, but in my close circle of friends that have committed suicide. And even though different varying stages and different reasons and rationale, you know, sometimes you lose touch with somebody, you can't reach in and reach out, but that's what the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Seminar is about, is to reach out and to reach in. So, Dr. Clark, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yep. So this seminar, this is the 4th time, or 5th time actually, that we've put on this particular summit. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect and how people might be able to participate in it as well.
Well, first you can expect a first-class summit. Our keynote speaker will be Miss Moss, and she has 2 books out that talks about suicide. And another thing is that this suicide summit is just not FSU.
Right.
In fact, it brings their entire community together around this topic, a topic that is very, very difficult to talk about.
Yeah. This is actually National Suicide Awareness Month.
Yes, it
and
is.
So, you know, this year it just had the summit coincides with the month. But, you know, you mentioned Ann Moss Rogers
Yes.
is our keynote speaker that's coming in. And she's got a couple of books that she's written. The books obviously will be for sale. She's the keynote speaker. But we also have some other items that are going to be at this particular suicide summit. Sometimes we talk about community involvement. Sometimes we talk about where resources are. Sometimes we focus on survivors, those who have attempted suicide and were, you know, thankfully unsuccessful, and then also those people that are left behind after a suicide tragedy. So this year, though, we're bringing in a special canine unit as well, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that and what these dogs do.
Well, I mean, as you can imagine, I have 2 dogs, and I know that you own a dog. And
oh, Handsome Hank,
oh,
yes.
yeah, Handsome Hank. And, you know, my dogs, Winston and Beverly, are very, very close. But imagine a emotional support animal that's been specifically trained for those purposes. And so it is new for our summit, and we're looking forward to it. Well,
we've got off-the-leash training. We've got Monica Green, who is actually one of Handsome Hank's trainers. For those of you who don't know, I've got a German Shepherd. You can follow him on Facebook, not Instagram. It's Handsome Hank, and we get pictures of him doing various things. But he's in the middle of his intermediate training, and then after his intermediate training, we have to wait a while, make sure he passes that test again, and then we can bring him back to be an emotional support dog as well. We have trained him to go into different places. He actually went to the old Health South in Compass not long ago. And went in and saw a couple of people that we knew there, and you know, he was good. He obeyed all the commands, did everything he was supposed to do, and then when people came up to him, it was good and comforting to do. But Monica is actually training some dogs right now, and she's bringing those dogs to the summit. And then you know, you've got other things that transpire. Now, for those of you who may or may not know, counselors need continuing education credits.
Correct.
And so, Dr. Clark, tell us a little bit about the continuing education credits, and do they cost anything?
No.
Okay.
These continuing education units are absolutely free, and we're very, very thankful to our partners, Lee Bailey and all the great folks over at Gulf Coast State College for making those continuing education units available. And that's a part of the growth of this summit.
Right.
I have seen it evolve. You know, we got over all of the face-to-face slots are full. If you want an opportunity to participate, you're only do it virtual at this point, but offering those continuing education units, bringing in the emotional support dog, question, persuade, refer, QPR training that's going to be made available, all of those things that's making this a signature event for FSU Panama City and for this community.
So we've got, you can sign up for this event at Eventbrite. There it is. It's Friday, September 29th, this upcoming Friday at the Holly Academic Center. For tickets, you go to www, that's the World Wide Web, .eventbrite, BRITE.com, and type in Suicide Summit FSU. It'll come right up. We need to get a little bit of information. You'll get a login information for the first part of the summit, which lasts until about 12:30. And then after the 12:30 time period is some specialized training.
Correct.
You've already mentioned that training. It's called QPR.
Yes.
And can you tell us what the QPR training is?
It's a three-part training: question,
okay,
persuade, refer.
Okay, so it's kind of like CPR training.
Correct.
Except now we're dealing with folks who are questioning themselves, or maybe questioning that they want to commit some type of harm to themselves, right?
Correct, correct.
So this is the first time, right, that we've offered this training?
It is.
Okay.
It is the first time, and this training is being offered nationally, and it has made a huge difference for someone who may have encountering someone that has suicidal ideation, or just to educate yourself more about suicide.
Yeah. The QPR training is not going to certify you to give professional advice, right? No. Okay. But it is going to at least help with that transition, maybe that transfer, to get them to somebody who needs professional advice.
Correct.
Now, you and I were talking about it. We each know somebody or several people that we feel like are, quote, on a danger list, if you will.
Yes.
And you know, you actually, not mentioning any names or anything, or the circumstances, you actually had to reach out and help somebody get what's called Baker Acted here in the state of Florida.
Correct.
What is a Baker Act?
Well, a Baker Act is a part of Florida statutes where you end up taking a person's liberties away for up to a 72-hour period where they'll be evaluated by a mental health specialist. Yeah.
And so how does somebody go about, you know, quote, Baker acting someone?
Well, of course, law enforcement can always do it, and a licensed clinical mental health specialist can do it. But if you're a person and you're concerned about an individual, you can always work through the courts.
Yep. So there's a couple of facilities here that help with Baker Act or facilitate with Baker Acts. What are those facilities?
Well, Emerald Coast. And great people over there. You know, I send a shout out to Tim Bedford. They've been very, very helpful for this community. And I'm not quite sure of the other one, but we deal with Emerald Coast. Quite often.
Well, we've got a caller on the line. We've got Rusty. Rusty, how can we help you tonight?
I was just calling. I know that you're all talking about the summit, but I didn't know if this company or this person that you're speaking with actually comes out to management companies or to like a condo that we handle. I just had an employee just commit suicide, unfortunately and tragically, this past Tuesday. So I didn't know if it was just a summit thing or if this corporation could actually come out to and speak to our employees and just maybe give them mental awareness updates or opportunities or further things.
That's a great question, and I'm very sorry that you had somebody on your staff that unfortunately committed suicide. This particular summit does not do this, but I can tell you that the folks at Emerald Coast Behavioral, if you'll reach out to them, just ask for the facility president, if you will, Tim Bedford, and tell them what's happened, and they have some trained professionals that can come out and they will set up a couple of different things for you. Number one, they can set up some individual training, or they can set up some individual counseling, or even just kind of offer for group counseling. Like, for instance, Bay District Schools, they have a facility, they have a team, a crisis team that is there that's available for them. And then also the folks at Life Management will do the same thing.
Northwest Florida Health Life Management also have
so Northwest Florida Life Management, they also have kind of the same thing that Emerald Coast Behavioral has, and one of the two would be honored to reach out and help your business and help the individuals in your business, because it's not just the immediate family that's affected, it's a lot of people that are affected.
And also
the ripple effect of this is when somebody commits suicide, according to my research and training, it affects about 200 people.
Yes.
It's, you got your inner circle, which kind of starts out with your immediate family members, and then it kind of ripples all the way out. And it's pretty close to 200 people that a single suicide may have an adverse effect on.
And that is a lot of people. But another resource, another community resource is Journey Pure.
Yes,
yes.
Journey Pure. Journey Pure, their main office is out on Panama City Beach. I think they have a facility in town as well. I'm unsure of that. But so those are your three resources, Rusty. Number one, Emerald Coast Behavioral. Number two, Northwest Florida Life Management, and then Journey Pure. All three of these are participating in the summit.
Yes, they
as
are.
sponsors and speakers.
Sponsors.
And so all three of them will be able to help you and kind of help your business, go through this unfortunate process of having to heal from somebody who's committed suicide. I want to mention one other thing here in the upfront item here. There's something that's it started last year. It's a federal program, and it's easy for somebody to reach out. It used to be you had to have the 1-800 crisis number or 1-800 suicide number.
988.
Now it's very simple. I think we've got a slide on this as well. It's the 988 slide.
Correct.
So all you have to do is, if you want to talk with somebody, if you want to reach out to somebody, if you feel like that there's somebody that you need to reach out for, instead of calling 911, I mean 911 if it's an emergency, absolutely. I mean if there's somebody that's imminently ready to do something, but if you need to talk about something, it's called 988, and that is a nationwide number. So all you have to do on any of your cell phones is dial 988. There you go.
There you go.
You are not alone, and you dial 988, and well, that's not the exact slide we were looking for, but anyways, you dial 988, and that is the one that you you work with, and somebody's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's no longer that you got to, it used to be you'd have to go to the phone book, or somebody go to the phone book, or you Google it, or you do that. Now it's very simple. It's 988 is the number, and
you get a live person.
Right. Yeah.
You get a live person.
You're not going to get the elevator music to do that, and fortunately, there are resources out there to help people, and the people on the line are trained.
Correct.
To help with that QPR, how to question, how to respond, how to intervene, how to persuade. Excellent resource. It's been in effect for a little bit more than a year.
Yes.
And so we're trying to bring out the awareness of that particular resource. I tell you, there's a lot kind of going on, a lot to unpack with this suicide awareness. I mentioned to you, and I mentioned up front, that I've had suicide touch my personally, in my inner circle, in my outer circle of friends. There's no worse feeling as being a friend, an associate, a family member, and not have somebody reach out and say, hey, I'm there. You've offered the help. You put on the summit. We know you put on the summit.
Yes.
What do I do? It's sometimes there's survivor's remorse about things. Sometimes, one of them, or actually the two of the last three that happened, I did not have a personal clue, either one. It just, out of the blue, you talk about lightning on a clear day, that's what it seemed like. Two people, one was a lawyer that very, 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 very successful. No issues, nothing strange going on that you can find. Another, exceptionally successful business person.
Yes.
Literally financially on top of the world. All the family, everything going good there. We believe that one was caused, from effects from the Iraq War, PTSD. But again, I just had lunch with them, or I had dinner with them within 3 weeks, 4 weeks of this happening. Everything seemed to be going great. Everything seemed to be fine. The magic word, I'm fine. Sometimes you got to dig beyond that.
Sometimes.
And
that's where the questions come in.
Yeah, and that's where the questions come in. How to get beyond that, because we know sometimes that word is, I'm fine. That's a front. That's a mask.
That's right.
For many people. And that's what we're talking about. We both know people that we feel like, are in that danger zone. And I'm fine. It's not. They're not even the Eeyore. I'm fine. It's I'm fine. But you got to dig behind it.
I think it's the same thing. Like if I was in pain.
Right.
If I was limping, and you say, Irving, you're limping. But if you notice some outward signs about someone that you work very closely with, they're not as groomed. They just don't have that glitter in the eye. And just ask questions, you know,
Yeah.
press the question, and they try to learn more, because you never know, you could say something that could really change your direction,
Right.
just by showing that you care.
Right, showing that you care, and that's
Yes.
why we do this summit. That's why we have these shows.
That's correct.
Is so that we can reach out to folks and reach into people and let them know that we care. That there are other people that care about you, that are around you. Sometimes it may not seem like it, but they do care, and they love you, and they want you around through better and through worse, through thick and through thin. And that's what our friends do for one another, and our colleagues do for one another. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a few moments. Stay tuned to this very important segment, suicide awareness and suicide prevention. Welcome back to this very important segment of Law Call. We're talking about suicide awareness, suicide prevention. We're talking about QPR training, and of course we're talking about our Suicide Awareness Summit that is coming up at FSU Holly Center this upcoming Friday, September 29th. And phone lines are open if you have a question or if you have a comment. 850-392-1544. If you're embarrassed, you don't want to go online, you don't want to be on the show, just shoot us an email at lawcall@wmbb.com. We'll be more than happy to try and address your concern or your question. Of course, if you need counseling, we're not the people to provide you counseling. You can dial 988. You can dial 988. That's on any cellular service, any cell phone, and there will be a live person that will be able to take your question, take your call, talk with you, work through whatever situation that you're in. That number is available 365 days a year, 24/7. It's been in service now for a little bit more than a year, and it's had some remarkable results. Tonight joining us is Dr. Irving Clark from FSU Panama City.
Yes, sir.
And so again, you know, we appreciate your support. We appreciate what you're doing with us. When we talked about the QPR training, let's talk about that for just a few more moments, and then we're going to come back to the dog training.
Okay.
Apparently the folks on Facebook like the dog training, and so they're asking about Handsome Hank, you know, the people that know him, but let's talk about the QPR training. First of all, what is it again?
It stands for question, persuade, refer.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we've got counselors who can also receive, that's part of their package with the summit, they can receive additional continuing education credits free of charge.
Correct.
By undergoing this training, right?
Correct.
So the entire summit, what's it cost?
It's absolutely free.
All right, so
Yeah.
in combination with your partners in FSU Panama City, This is free to the community.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And so you said most of the live, I mean, we've got more than 200 people that have showed up to come in live.
Yes.
But if people want to come on and they want to view it, we can go to Eventbrite. Let's put that slide back up if you don't mind, please. You can go to eventbrite.com, www. I see, there we go. Again, it's this Friday, www.eventbrite.com. Eventbrite is spelled EVENTBRITE.com. Search for Suicide Prevention Summit, FSU, Panama City. And then we have unlimited folks that can
But they must pre-register.
They must pre-register in order to do that. So it's, here we go. We got the crisis hotline that's 24/7. You can text or call. It's best to call, I think, 988. Again, that is 988. Please make sure that if you have a particular focus, and it doesn't have to be you, it could be somebody close to you. You can reach out to somebody and say, hey, look, I'm dealing with someone who we know is going through depression, or we know somebody has gone through a loss, a family member, spouse, a daughter, a son, and I'm worried about them.
Or even if you just want to learn more about it.
Right.
Yes.
These are the things that you do. As far as folks that come to the summit, you need to arrive about 30 minutes early.
I would recommend that.
There is, even though you're registered, there's additional registration that needs to take place. There are vendors and vendor booths. We've mentioned several of them tonight. We've mentioned Emerald Coast Behavioral Center. We've mentioned Journey Pure. We've mentioned Life Management, but there are others. Spare. You also have
you also have the Bay Vet Center with Mr. Matt Stanish, and so the goal is to bring all of those resources to one place.
Right, and so at there, I mean, we've got 12 different resources, if I counted them correctly, that are going to be there. Let me kind of get to that again, kind of go over all of them. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention will be present. The Angel House Bereavement Center.
That's Miss Professor Denise Mumford that was here last year.
And so the Angel House is for folks that have lost children.
Correct.
Not necessarily just to suicide, but sudden losses for children as well. Like I said, CARE is going to be there. Department of Children's and Family will be there. Emerald Coast Behavioral. Florida Lead Service.
Yes.
Florida Therapy Services. Go Magazine, which is a Christian-based magazine. And this is kind of funny. People say, how does a community come together? You have the Gulf Coast LGBTQ Center that will be there as well.
Correct.
So anybody that says that Christians and LGBTQ doesn't get along, put it aside. We don't put up with that.
This is all about saving lives.
That's right. Life Management Center is going to be present. Northwest Florida Health Network. Some folks from Perry & Young will be there as well. Speaks to Inspire Suicide Prevention Awareness and Education, that's SPARE.
Correct.
The Veterans Administration Suicide Prevention Program, as well as the Vet Center for Bay County. So a lot of resources are going to be present. And if you don't come for the seminar, if you have a need and you just want to meet one of these resources, come on. They will be out in the lobby area of the Holly Center. Again, this event is open to anyone.
Yes, it is.
It
open
is not,
to the public.
We've talked about continuing education credits for counselors and things like that, but many people who are in the community or around people. Rusty, you called in at the beginning of the show. Maybe you can send somebody over. We'll probably make a separate slot for you. Call me at my law office tomorrow. If there is a cancellation, we'll make sure that we get somebody from your office or your business to attend at least, and then maybe gather some additional resources this week for the person that happened, committed suicide at your business, or employee at your business. Ann Moss Rogers, she is the keynote speaker.
Yes, she is. We're very fortunate to have her. Yes, because she has a lived personal experience.
Yeah, her 20-year-old son died by suicide, and then after the suicide, she discovered many of his writings and lyrics and things that he was going through. He was a very bright young man.
Yes, was.
And she has actually written a couple of books, and she has been in Vanity Fair. She's been on TED Talks, and we're very fortunate to have her come in.
Yes, we are, and in fact, she will be talking about both of her books.
Okay.
And so you have an opportunity to get an autographed copy of it.
Yeah. And speak with somebody who's open about.
Correct.
This happened to me literally right in my home, and I talk with people and they say, "Oh, if I would have known, if I could have done this." Sometimes you don't see the signs. Sometimes there are signs, it's putting it all together, and as they say, hindsight's 50-50. It's not even 20-20. You know, it's 50-50 that you could have made a difference or done that. But that's the goal, is that we can reach in and do our very best. We're going to take our final break. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few moments. And we're back. Thank you for staying with us tonight all through this Suicide Awareness and Prevention Seminar, Law Call Edition. Dr. Clark, what would you like to say here in your parting words?
Well, my parting words would be is that this is an annual event for our community. We don't have all the answers. And so although we have an amazing program scheduled for this coming Friday, we would like to hear your ideas, ways to improvement, or perhaps ways for you to be involved for next year. And so if you'd like to be involved, you know, just let your office know. And we welcome the opportunities to have your input.
Yeah, so there it is, an open invite to help us out. We do have a couple shout outs that we got to get to.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and go to those. Mariana, we had a grand opening. There's my law partner and my wife and his wife. They make us look better there. Oh, Miss Quita Morris. Miss Morris, she watches Law Call faithfully every Sunday night.
Okay.
And so pleasure meeting her at the grand opening. Oh, we've got Miss Deborah Pope. She is a former client who was there, and she says, I watch Law Call too. I want my picture. And of course we got Cephas Granberry and Chris Young and Sheriff Donnie Edenfield who made it there. We had nearly 300 people show up at our grand opening. It was a great night, a great afternoon. We appreciate it. The Mariana High School Band performed, did a fantastic job for us, but it was good. Dr. Clark, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
And folks, again, that Suicide Awareness Prevention Seminar, you can find it on eventbrite.com. It is this Friday at FSU Panama City. Please do not hesitate to reach out. And of course, if you have an immediate need, reach out to 988, dial 988, and someone will be there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Folks, y'all have a good night. Thank you so very much for watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week.